Well, we just completed a pretty exciting weekend of OHL hockey, and there's a few topics involving the OHL that has a lot of people talking. For starters, there was the goalie fight between Owen Flores of the Niagara IceDogs and Jack Ivankovic of the Brampton Steelheads, which kind of threw people off guard because nobody was really expecting it. Although you never really expect a goalie fight, two players at opposite ends of the ice meeting at center in their full equipment, trying to throw punches. It's quite entertaining to watch, but at the same time, you don't expect it, especially with a guy like Jack Ivankovic, who could be the first goaltender selected in the 2025 NHL entry draft. But the bigger thing being talked about right now around the Ontario Hockey League, the Niagara IceDogs, believe it or not, they're off to a 4-0 start, and it has a lot of people asking, are the Niagara IceDogs legit? Well, if you go back into the history books, this is the first time Niagara has had a four-game winning streak to open a regular season since 2006-2007. That was the season before they relocated to St. Catharines, because at that time they were the Mississauga Ice Dogs. So you have to go way back. The last time Niagara had a start like this, or the Ice Dogs organization has had a start like this. So it's pretty impressive. And then when you compare that to last year, Niagara opened the season 0-4. The Ice Dogs finishing at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings. So coming into this year, no one really gave Niagara much consideration. Maybe they'd make the playoffs. That was the thought, myself included. When I was doing the previews for this upcoming season, I thought Niagara should be a team maybe challenging for a playoff spot, because consistency was the big thing I was curious about, because Niagara is known for making so many trades. You wonder, okay, who's coming, who's going? But this season, the team seems to have figured it out. This is actually the first time since 2018-2019 that the Ice Dogs have had a start such as this, when they went 3-1. So it's quite remarkable what is going on right now with the Ice Dogs. And just looking at how the season has started, they opened the year in Ottawa against the 67s, where they had that 3-2 victory. Then they won in Kingston 5-2 and defeated the Oshawa Generals on the road 5-3. So Sunday was their home opener at the Meridian Center, and that's where they put up a 7-3 score against the Brampton Steelheads, who are considered the top team right now in the Canadian Hockey League. Obviously, the CHL top 10 ranking will change based on this result. Maybe we see Niagara getting a mention in the CHL top 10. It's actually been remarkable seeing the players who've really been contributing to the wins and getting the points. Kevin He leads the way in scoring after the 4 games. 6 goals, 5 assists, good for 11 points. He had 6 points alone in the win against the Brampton Steelheads yesterday. Andre Loshko, who they picked up off waivers, he has 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Third in scoring is rookie forward Brady Wasselin. 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points in 4 games. Max Crete, another rookie, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points. Alex Asadorian, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. And Ryan Robrick, 3 goals in 4 games. He's looked pretty good too. He had a great goal against the Steelheads yesterday. So that's your core right now that's contributing offensively. And for this team, you have to give credit to general manager Wes Consorti, because a lot of people were scratching their heads with some of the moves that were made during last season at the OHL trade deadline. And then coming into this season, there were a handful of moves where people are wondering, okay, what exactly is going on with Niagara? Well, he's kind of built a pretty decent defensive unit, bringing in the likes of Noah Van Vliet, Jack Browdy, Blair Scott, and Matthew Virgilio. They've come in and have kind of set the pace really for defense, which has really helped. And then Owen Flores doing a great job in net so far. And also to note, none of the defensemen on this team have a goal so far. All the goal scoring is coming from the offense, which is great to see for the Niagara IceDogs. And now the power play has also been fantastic when you look at the numbers. They're tied with the Erie Otters for the best power play unit in the OHL at 33.3%, while the penalty kill also tied for first in the OHL with Sarnia and Sudbury at 93.8%. So they're getting the goal scoring, the defense is stepping up, and the specialty teams is also off to an amazing start. So it's the recipe for a 4-0 start. Like I said, the best since 2006, 2007. Now, I don't really expect the Ice Dogs to continue this pace, but that could be seeing past results with how this team has been. Maybe that's a factor and why I don't expect Niagara to continue this, because they still have 64 games to go before the playoffs. So it's a very long season. I think if they can extend this winning streak and continue to get points, they will likely make the playoffs. And they haven't had playoff hockey in St. Catharines since 2019. So there's a lot of excitement and optimism around this team. You look at their upcoming schedule this week, they play Friday night at home against the Owen Sound Attack, who is another team that's been struggling. Saturday, they're home to the North Bay Battalion, who've had a rough road trip so far. They went 1-2 rather last weekend. Then next Thursday, they're home to Ottawa. They're a stronger team, but they beat Ottawa to start the regular season. And then next Friday, they're back on the road in Kitchener. So some winnable games there. Could we see the Ice Dogs extend this winning streak or just get some more points in general? I think it's a very pleasant surprise that the Niagara IceDogs are the top team right now in the Eastern Conference. But we usually do see one team that's a bit of a surprise out of the gate. Remember last year, the Peterborough Petes and Kitchener Rangers, they were the big surprises to start the year. And then for Peterborough, of course, they fell off, but they were selling. And Kitchener kind of took a step back as the season went on. They weren't able to continue that momentum. But for Niagara, this team has a great core. I really love the play of Kevin He. Robrick has looked great. Wasslin, the rookie. So I think for the Niagara IceDogs, let's see if they can find a way to stay competitive. I like what I'm seeing here. Hopefully they don't make any drastic moves. The last thing you want to do right now is disrupt this core. Keep what you have. And who knows? We could be talking about playoff hockey in Niagara by the end of the regular season. So that's how I see it with the Ice Dogs. I want to do a video just to do a little more in-depth analysis about the Niagara Ice Dogs. I've had a few people message me already asking me what's going on in St. Catharines with the Ice Dogs. And from what I can tell, this is a team that's figured it out quite early in the regular season. And it's great to see Niagara having some success, and we'll see if they can continue this momentum. Now, there's a couple other items that have come about that are worth noting here. The NCAA is expected to hold a vote in the coming month to allow junior hockey players from the CHL to commit to the NCAA, which would be huge. The rule right now, as it stands, is that once you commit to playing in the Canadian Hockey League, so that's the OHL, the QMJHL, and the WHL, you lose eligibility to go to the NCAA. So when you're at the age of 16, you basically have to make the decision. Are you going to go to university in the United States at an NCAA school, or are you going to go to junior? And that's a huge ask of someone at the age of 16. So with this vote, of course, there's a couple of lawsuits right now underway, which has kind of prompted this vote. And there's a player with the Regina Pats, an overage player who's announced that he's committed to go to Arizona State. That's the first player to announce that. So there is pressure on the NCAA here. It sounds like this is the direction it's going to go. And if in fact they do open it up to CHL players, do we see a player like Caleb Malhotra return to the OHL? Do we see Adam Valentini come to the OHL? Because that means that they could play in the Canadian Hockey League and not lose their eligibility for the NCAA. So this is going to be a huge vote. We don't know exactly when the vote will take place. They just say that it could happen within the month. So we'll stay tuned for that, because this is going to change the landscape when it comes to junior hockey players. This will probably have a negative impact on Tier 2, because a lot of players will go Tier 2 if they want to go the NCAA route. But now they could come to the OHL if they want to have ambitions of going NCAA. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll see what happens next, but very fascinating stuff. And of course, this news all really started earlier this year when there were rumblings that a change could be on the horizon. And here we are in October 2024, and it sounds like that vote could be sooner rather than later. And a pretty exciting news story coming out of Erie this weekend. They're going to retire number 97. Of course, Conor McDavid wore that number when he was a member of the Erie Otters. They were some powerhouse teams when McDavid was there, playing alongside Alex DeBrincat and Dylan Strome. Those teams falling short. They went, of course, to the OHL final against the Oshawa Generals and ended up losing in that series. McDavid still named the MVP of the playoffs in that run. But he left his mark in the OHL and the Erie Otters. And it's great to see that he'll be recognized with his number 97 going to the rafters on January 10th. So mark that on your calendars. And yes, Conor McDavid will be in attendance. Wouldn't really make much sense to announce a jersey retirement and the player isn't able to be there. So congratulations to Conor McDavid having his number 97 raised to the rafters at the Erie Insurance Arena. Definitely something you would expect with the likes of Conor McDavid. So, of course, that's on January 10th. And the last news item to talk about, this came out this morning. Jeff Merrick posting on Twitter that Quentin Musty won't be returning to the Sudbury Wolves. He says that he's staying home right now in Hamburg, New York, waiting a trade, which is kind of too bad because obviously the Sudbury Wolves, last year was the year they wanted to go all in. This year, the team probably taking a step back. I still say the team looks pretty good right now on the ice, but it's early in the season. But imagine what Quentin Musty could do for this team to help decide whether or not maybe they go in or maybe they sell off. But with Musty saying he doesn't want to report to the Sudbury Wolves, of course, this is all just reports. Nothing has been confirmed. That's kind of a hit to the Sudbury organization. Because if they would hold on to Musty until, say, the OHL trade deadline to then move him, they could then acquire a 16-year-old first-round pick from another team. But if you trade him now, then you can't acquire a 16-year-old because those trades are blocked up until the trade deadline. But we already saw some big moves. Carson Rakoff, of course, went from Kitchener to Brampton, and we just had Colby Barlow go from Owen Sound to Oshawa. So maybe there'll be a package that could be similar to those types of trades. So a lot of draft picks and some players going back and return to the Sudbury Wolves. But we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out. Like I said last week when the Colby Barlow trade was announced, the next big question mark would be Quentin Musty. And now it seems like we're starting to get some answers on that front. There's also been talk about a potential trade between Erie and Sudbury. No names have been revealed as to who would go either way. I don't know if Musty would be a part of that because, of course, the Erie Otters looking to be a contender this year in the Western Conference. Do they look to acquire Quentin Musty? That's a big question mark right now, and that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on any of these items. Do you see Quentin Musty going to the West? Or what do you think of the Niagara IceDogs and their great run right now to start the regular season? Thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.